The Curious End of Christine Baxter, a story by Dalrymple. Christine Baxter, young, tall, beautiful, and dead. This is what I remember of how Christine Baxter came to die only last Saturday, and the days that led to her untimely death. Tuesday. I can tell you Christine was always arguing with her longtime boyfriend Rodney. They would break up and make up, and the truth of it was, as far as I could see, Rodney loved the bones of Christine. She called me bitching about how he suffocates her. He checks on me, reads my texts, asks so many questions, I can't take it, she said. So leave. You guys ain't married, I told her. It was not easy to tell if Christine knew how guys really felt about her, the effect she seemed to have on them. They fell instantly in love. She was the topic of conversation amongst most guys I knew. Take my big brother Alan. He was always talking how sweet she was, how sexy, the whole bit. Don't misunderstand me, I get it. Christine was more than beautiful. Not the sharpest tool in the box, but stunning. Although she secretly craved it, she didn't demand attention. She just got it, and everyone wanted to be her friend. I just wish she was more aware of other people's feelings sometimes. That's all. Wednesday. I was having movie date night with Axe when Christine called almost excited to say she dumped Rodney. We had a big blow up. He was shouting and getting personal. He said if I don't act right, he's going to make me, she told me. Where were you guys? I asked. She said the argument took place at his flat. That was it. I was gone, girl. I'm done. I don't know what it was about her voice. It just sounded so definite and sure, unlike the other times in their on-off weird relationship. I wish I didn't answer the phone, because as soon as she was done telling her story, my date night was over. Axe got a call from one brethren in trouble and said he had to go. Oh well, more popcorn for me. Thursday. On my way home, I saw Christine. It had just started to rain and she didn't seem to mind her hair getting wet. I ran up behind her and tapped her on the shoulder. Boy, did she jump. I was only joking around, but Christine was vexed. You play too much, she barked. That's your problem, you play too much. She seemed to calm down as we walked on a bit. There's this guy I like, Marvin. Met him at work. Christine was giggling as she told me. We kind of made it official last night. I was shocked. What, you slept with him already? What about Rodney? I asked. Old news, babe. I'm done. Even if he ain't, I ain't going back. What, smelling like some next man? He keeps texting me, talking about how he's going to kill me. No one can have me. That's nuts. I'm done, babes. Done. That was Christine. She could be blunt and unthinking. I hurt for Rodney, even if he didn't know her plans, and there was surely no need for him to. Not from me, at least. Friday. There were days I wished I had my own place. Axe wasn't allowing me to stay over as much due to his working hours starting at stupid o'clock in the morning. Since my brother moved back home, we were living on top of each other. I could never find anything. Keys, phone. Today it was my umbrella. Oi, fish! You seen my brolly? I think I left it at... My brother didn't give me a chance to finish my sentence as he presented a cute fold-away umbrella that I recognised with the same scratches on the handle from where I kept dropping it. Take this one, he said, plunging it into my palm. Fish face, this is mine, I insisted. Nope, your girl Christine loaned it to me, he shouted back as he walked away. How on earth did Christine come by something I left at Axe's flat? And when did she see Alan to be loaning umbrellas? Well, we got similar tastes in stuff, I guess. Must have the same one. I didn't truly believe the words that were coming out my mouth, but I'm glad I said it. I think it sounded good. Sounded convincing. I think. Where did you see Christine, Alan? I heard his footsteps going down the stairs and I never got my answer. For the rest of the day, I felt uneasy. Later, I phoned Christine to see what we could get into that night. She said she was hanging with the new man and keeping out of Rodney's way. Well, if you do go out, take your umbrella, I said. It don't let up as yet. I was willing her to respond. Nah, babe, I ain't got one. That was the truth. She had none, neither one of her own or mine. I had no time to think about Christine. I had a man of my own to check. Later on, I walked along the estate Axe lived on, and I saw his door open. I was glad he was home. He stepped out smiling and shirtless onto the balcony. He clearly was with someone, and his hand guided his company out the door. There, just as beautiful as ever, stood Christine, playing coyfully with her hair and then passionately kissing Axe. Just looking at the two of them, so open and unashamed, things started to fall into place, but not quite. I felt sick. I got home as quickly as I could. I couldn't unsee what was so open and unabashed on that balcony. I wanted to look for Alan, who found me first. "Sup, sis? You crying?" he asked. While looking straight at me, he could see that I was. I told him everything. Alan's mood changed and went from concerned big brother to an angry rage. We talked with me continuing to cry, and Alan comforted me over Axe until he excused himself and left the room to make a phone call. He went into the hall. I could hear everything. "So it's like that, is it? We had plans, you and me. I had to watch you with that simple Ute Rodney for so long, and now you bypass me and take up with this slap brother, my sister's man. Are you mad? You're dirty and loose. Now bother with me again, you know. Hear what, yeah? You don't need to hide from Rodney. If I see you before him, I kill you first." He let out a loud grunt of frustration and came back into the living room. I pretended to be asleep until I actually fell asleep. Saturday. I woke up in the afternoon with backache courtesy of the couch, a face of dried tears and bad breath tasting of cheap wine. I remember Alan mumbling and patting himself down for keys. Once I was out of the bathroom, he spoke with a big brother firmness. "Sis, I think you should rest up today, yeah? You thinking of going out?" I shook my head no. I was lying. He then left the house. I was geared up on intrigue to know where Alan would go, but no time. I decided I had to see Axe. He was, after all, completely unaware I knew of his involvement with Christine, and that made me feel powerful somehow. I got to Axe's place without being spotted by anyone. Happy to get inside and be out of sight, I could feel a plan unfolding in my head. Christine was wrong. My brother and Axe were wrong for betraying poor simple Rodney, and Axe himself definitely had no feelings for me. I was the victim here. I just wasn't going to act like one. Stepping into his lounge, I could see Axe was sitting on his couch rolling his cigarettes. We chatted for a bit until I really couldn't stand the sight of him any longer. "Axe, before I go, there's 2 things I want to tell you, hun." The actress in me played her part perfectly. Why not? I was 1 step ahead. "What?" he answered curt without looking up. "Well, 1, meet me on Ponders Hill, say 8 o'clock, please. And 2, I love you, Axe." He sat statue still. "Yeah, I'll meet you." His brow knitted as he spoke. My inner self-righteousness gave way to me walking out the flat without saying anything more. Downstairs on the estate green, I rummaged in my bag for my phone. I was dizzy with excitement of making this particular call. "Hey, hun, how you doing? Look, I'm sorry about you and Christine," I consoled. "Meet me on Ponders Hill at 8, yeah? We'll talk." I then texted my brother that I was in the mood to clear my thoughts and head up to Ponders Thai restaurant later on. He agreed. With all the meetings in place, I just needed Christine. My heart was beating so fast, I was drunk on comeuppance. Christine shouldn't have messed with me or mine. Evening came around so quickly, it was as if the day was forcing me to go through with exposing Christine. But what good would that do? Would that make me feel better? I began to feel as if I'd dodged a bullet. If my friend and supposed boyfriend were seeing each other, then they could have each other. In that regard, she may have done me a favour. As the day became darker, it began to rain again as Alan drove us up the steep incline known as Ponders Hill. We arrived at the meet point to find Axe waiting. Alan stopped the car abruptly without parking, and he jumped out and started shouting at Axe. No sooner the row between them began to swell in volume, Alan leapt on Axe, punching him repeatedly in the gut and then finally in the face, just as the sound of Rodney laughing and slow hand-clapping their performance entered the scene. Within a minute, Christine arrived, but approaching from around the corner, she only saw me and called my name. Her broad smile dropped. As she joined our drama-filled arena, she saw the 3 objects of her affection. Axe, with his bleeding face, my brother panting with clenched fists, and Rodney none the wiser as usual. "No umbrella, Christine?" I asked sarcastically as she stood open-mouthed, trying to think of what she could say, trying to choose which fool would believe her. Yeah, so what? Get over it, she said, full of venom. Rodney gave me everything. Your brother was a good lay, and as for Axe, I took him because I could. He never wanted you, just hung around you to be close to me. She paused, and with a half smile she continued. He offered himself to me constantly, begged me daily, even texted while you were in the room. In that moment, I wanted to slap her, shake her, to stop her talking. She continued looking at the guys. People like you worship people like me every day for no reason. Why shouldn't I take what you give me? Your time, money, sex, all I got from you, each of you gave freely. Christine was right, of course, but I just wanted to shut her up. The rain was no help as we all stood soaked through. Why wouldn't she stop talking? I lunged towards her and found myself weakened by her words. I made a final ditch effort to swing at her as she became illuminated by a high beam of a very fast oncoming car. Alan screamed my name and grabbed me backward to safety by my outstretched arm. The car screeched, spun out of control and came to a standstill. Everything fell silent. Christine had stopped talking. No noise except the running footsteps of Axe and Rodney towards her lifeless body drenched in rainwater and her blood. The offending vehicle remained where it had stopped. The driver clenched the steering wheel with his forehead on it as the windscreen wipers kept their rhythm. Alan and I ran over. We knocked on the window. "Hey man, you all right?" I asked. Slowly the driver lifted his head and took down the window automatically. Alan further inquired, "Bruv, you good?" "I told her to stop," the driver said with the rain hitting his face through the open window. "I told Christine to stop cheating on me. 5 years of forgiving her. 5 years of looking like a fool. I did. I told her to stop." He nodded as if convincing himself and us. "Stop it," I said. "Stop it or I will." Right in that moment, I realized that Christine had cast a wider net of deceit and betrayal. It was becoming clear that our little group may not be the only one with Christine as its problems. I couldn't think anymore. All I could hear was the rain against anything it hit. And now all I could see was the approach of flashing blue lights. The Curious End of Christine Baxter, a story by Dalrymple. You have been listening to a spoken word production for SoFF Creations.